Hey guys, this is Coach Cummings. I'm the offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach at Travelers Rest High School, which is just outside Greenville, South Carolina. I'm heading in my fourth year here, and the last 2 years have been two of the most successful seasons we've had in school history. I'd like to think our offense played a role in that, as we had two of the top five in school history. Last year, we were at about 38 and a half points per game. The year before that was about 38 points a game. So we had a pretty significant turnaround from the previous years. When I got the job a couple years ago, I was given a lot of freedom by my head coach. And one of the things that I knew I wanted to look at was putting in some RPOs. And so I did some research. And one of the first things that I noticed, one of the first takeaways about RPOs, is that there is just so much out there that you can do. There's your pre-snap reads, there's your post-snap reads, there's your GIFs, there's triple option reads where you're reading two different guys. You can read the defensive end, the linebackers, the D-gap defender. You can read the safety. There's just so much stuff out there. So I try to take the research, and I knew that we had to try to simplify it for our players, make it something that we could teach. So I decided I was going to dive into RPOs fully, but we have to find a way to make it teachable to our kids. So here's what we ended up doing. First off, there's a couple of questions that you need to answer before that you go into RPOs too much. And the biggest thing is, how do we make this teachable and easy to learn for them? So what we decided to do is come up with some base rules that work for any formation. Now, what we're going to do from those base rules is we're going to have route conversions or tags for specific looks. And one of the looks we'll talk a lot about in this presentation is man coverage, because that affects our RPOs quite significantly. How do we take advantage of what the defense gives us? All right, so that's where we build in our pre-snap gifts. And also at the same time, we want to go ahead and put in conflict those guys that have not only run responsibilities, but also pass responsibilities. What are our answers to man coverage? Okay, you've got to have an answer to man coverage. And one of the best things nowadays is the slot fade concept. So I got thinking, how can we go ahead and incorporate that into some of our RPO stuff? And you could also check into certain things, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. You also need to decide what run schemes you want to use with their RPOs. And as a result, who do you want to read off that? Inside zone is one of the most common ones to use. And in inside zone, when you're throwing the ball, we're going to go ahead and read the backside inside linebacker. And that's exactly what we're going to do as well. We also have used this a little bit with pin and pull RPO to the outside, where we're also reading this backside inside linebacker. So that's going to be our key guy. Now, when I did some research, here are some of the popular concepts as far as RPOs go that I wanted to go ahead and build in. These are not anything that are new or shattering. Most of you guys probably run these. But what if I told you that we run all of these within one concept? We run hitches, we run fade, we run slot fade, we run slants, we run stick, we run snag, all within one concept. This is how we run inside zone. And you can call it whatever you want to call it, whether it's numbers, maybe it's 30. If you want to use words, Arizona or zebra hot, whatever you want to call inside zone, this is our inside zone. Now, here's how we teach it to our receivers. The first thing that we're going to ask ourselves is, are you front side or back side in the concept? Okay, anytime you are front side in the concept, you are going to run hitches. That is your base concept. When we say front side, we're talking about the direction that the running back is going to. Now, we want to also build into that a route conversion. So if they adjust and if they play man coverage, I want to go ahead and tag either fade or slot fade into that. So I always want to have that stop and that fade built into it. Now, obviously, if there's only one receiver front side, he's the only one that can run that fade. So that'd be your single side X receiver. Now, if there's two or three, we're going to run number two on the fade. So by running number one on the hitch and number two on the fade, that's your slot fade concept. We also want to go ahead and have a tag that we can go ahead and give the front side in order to block. And in particular, we would do that when we run our outside zone, our pin and pull. Now, the backside. So the second question is, am I the first question is, am I front side or backside? The second question, if I'm backside, I want to ask myself how many receivers are on my side, including you. So if there's one or two receivers on the backside, we're going to run slants. If there's three receivers on the backside, we're going to run our three-man snag concept. We actually could run anything we want on the backside. We can tag a lot of different things if we want, like stick. We could tag a now screen. We could tag a now screen by number 1 and number 2 and a stick by the third guy. We can tag pretty much whatever we want to tag. But we want to base it out of these particular concepts. So have base rules and then have tags from there. Now, for our quarterback, even though there's a lot of stuff going on, it's a very simple read. So here are our rules for our quarterback. All right, so first thing we're going to look at, okay, we're going to look at pre-snap. We're going to look at the front side of the concept. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look for is, do we have a soft corner or do we have an uncovered receiver? I'm just looking for grass. And if we have grass, we're going to go ahead and throw that hitch. Okay, if we have tight man coverage, that's where we're going to go ahead and convert to either our fade or our slot fade. Now, it's important that we're going to go ahead and signal to that particular receiver. So the quarterback's going to give a signal, the receiver's going to also give the signal so that we make sure that we're on the same page. Now, when I'm talking about tight man coverage, I'm talking about either cover 0 or cover 1. If they're in any sort of 2-man, that means that they're in a 5-man box, we're going to run the football. So I'm talking about cover 0, cover 1. I can go ahead and tag that and just tell that receiver to run the fade. Okay, so pre-snap, I'm looking for a soft corner or an uncovered receiver if someone throw that hitch. Okay, and then I'm also looking for tight man coverage. Now, post-snap, we can go ahead and we can block 5. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and read the 6th defender. So we base out of 10 personnel, so we can go ahead and block 5 and read that 6th guy. If you base out of 11 personnel, you can block 6 and read the 7th guy. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to read from the inside out. Okay, so anytime we pull it, and when I say pull it, that's the quarterback deciding we're going to throw it. We're going to read from the inside out. So it could be double slants. Okay, it could be snag to bubble, but I'm going to read inside out. I'm going to read the same area of the field. So I'm going to throw from that void where that linebacker's coming from to the flat area. Now, at any point, if that read is cloudy, we tell our quarterback to hand the ball off. Now, we also need to kind of understand the quarterback is going to make mistakes from time to time. If he decides that he's going to try to pull it and throw it, and then he realizes he made a mistake, we're going to teach that quarterback to follow the running back up through the hole. There's no reason to compound that mistake and make another one by throwing it in traffic and getting it picked off. So we need to make sure we teach that to our quarterback. All right, so this is the 2x2 concept here. Okay, so to the front side, okay, over here, we're going to run our hitches. Okay, so that's front side because that's the direction the run is going to. Now we could also go ahead and tag this receiver on the fade route. Okay, so there's your slot fade concept. On the back side, okay, we're going to run slants. So this is 2x2. So we got front side, back side, and then this would be our backside 2 concept. All right, now on this, okay, I've got the hitches built into it. All right, one thing you might see is you might see this apex defender to the front side. A lot of times we'll do that nowadays, the apex to that front side and get a full cover down to the weak side. Well, one of the ways we can deal with that instead of flipping that read is we just throw that hitch out there. He's got good leverage, just put it on his outside shoulder and just throw that hitch. It's much easier for us to do that than go ahead and flip the read for the quarterback. Now, on our slants, couple coaching points. The inside slant is 3 steps. The outside is 5 steps. We do that because it's going to time up. He's going to read inside to out. So 3 steps and then 5 steps, almost like your R4. It's going to time up from one receiver to the other. Also, another coaching point on this outside guy, because he's deeper, we're going to want to try to snap that flatter so that we snap it across the safety's face. Now, if I run that out of 3x1, okay, so let's say I'm running to the single side. All right, that's our front side. He's going to run stop, or he has the possibility of running fade if they're in press coverage. Again, we're going to go ahead and tag that. All right, to the backside concept, we're going to run our 3-man snag. All right, again, I'm still reading the same player. So here's my pre-snap read. I'm looking at the stop. or the fade if I have it. And then post snap, okay, if he comes, the linebacker comes, I'm reading inside out. So I'd read snag to bubble. Again, same area of the field. Okay, I'm throwing inside out. Now, if I run it to the field, we've got our stops. Okay, to the field, I could tag number 2 on the fade. And so really, if I tag number 2 on the fade, I've got a high-low right here, and I got an inside-outside. What I've basically done is just created stick. Okay, and then on the back side, we've got our slant. Now, I'm going to run this at 3 steps because I'm the first guy in the progression if he pulls it. In fact, I'm the only guy. This is actually a really good look for teams that are in an odd front, and you'll have that outside linebacker to the weak side that a lot of times will come, but sometimes bluffs and stays there. That's a really good tag for that. In fact, this year, we beat one of the best teams in our area for the first time in school history at their place. And on the last drive, we had a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 with the ball. We were up by 7 points, and this was the play we called. We knew that we were getting a lot of blitz off that backside, and that's how we could isolate one of our best players one-on-one on this particular RPO. So that's a really good call, especially if you have a guy at X that's really special, because a lot of times you're going to get that blitz off the weak side. Now, if you're going to major in RPOs, you need to have answers for man coverage. So I call them Manswers. All right, this is something I got from Coach Dearman. So you need to have answers for man coverage. Now we have the fade or the slot fade already built into that. But again, let's say we're in a situation where it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and I need a first down. Do I really want to call fade or slot fade? Okay, so there's a couple of checks that we talk to our quarterback about. One of which is just plain zone read. If I get a 6-man box, I can still go ahead and block zone read. In which case, the only thing I really need to do is I need to tell my backside tackle, instead of locking on, we're going to double to the backside linebacker. And I'm going to tell my backside receivers, instead of running your RPO concept, we're just going to block. And the reason why is if we pull it, if the quarterback pulls it, I want to make sure that that overhang player is not able to tackle him. And then also another thing we can do is whatever concept you have to the backside, just tag a man beater to that side. So I want to just go ahead and show you one of those real quickly. So this is one of our tags, one of our man beaters. So we're running 2x2. Again, front side is the same. You got your hitches. You can run slot fade. But to the backside, one of our mansers, if you will. Okay, we're going to run this slot guy on a fade, but he's going to rub through the inside of the corner. This guy's going to run a 3-step slant, and what he's going to do is going to stem it slightly to the outside, and that way it'll get the corner to turn his hips, and then I'm going to come underneath the fade. So again, if this guy attacks, I'm looking to throw the slant. Now, I could also run that at trips. The only thing that would be different out of trips is we just bubble with the third guy. So one of the things that I really believe in is doing a few things and doing them really well, and then repping them like crazy at practice. These RPOs actually allow you to go ahead and shrink the playbook because you don't need a whole lot of quick game. They're built into your run game. So that's one of the things that's been very helpful, and we've got really, really good at these because we run them a ton at practice. Now, as far as RPOs go in general, one of the things that I'm going to say is try to keep it as simple as possible for your quarterback and receivers. And the easiest way to do that is have a base way to run your RPO concepts and then have some tags to change it up, some one-word tags. Also, you need to make sure that you have answers for man coverage. All right. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble because they're going to play 4-2 in the box and they're going to man up and they're going to give you a pull read and you have some sort of zone beater on. So you need to have man answers. Okay. Slot fade's a great one, or fade, but that's also very low percentage. So whatever your man beaters are, it could be that one I showed you a minute ago where I'm running 2 on the slot fade and number 1's coming on the slant underneath. Whatever your man answers are, you need to have some built into your system. Here's my contact information. Again, Coach Cummings at Travelers Rest High School. If you want to go ahead and follow me, there's my Twitter and there's my email. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me. I'd love to talk ball. and hopefully learn something about RPOs today. Thanks.